As you can see in this gameplay demo of Nioh, the combat is very versatile. I went from shooting enemies in the head with a bow, to slicing them up with a uchigatanga, to even using some sort of pick on a rope sort of thing, and you would throw it and you would like pick them. It's a very fast combat style. It's very hard. It's probably harder than Dark Souls even. I went from being really awesome and slicing everybody up and feeling good about myself to dying in seconds. It's a very challenging game. The puzzles and even the environment are ruthless. There was one part near the end of the demo where I was walking up a hill and all of a sudden I fell in a hole, and there was a waterfall there, but it was blocking the hole with the water falling in front of it, so you couldn't even see where the hole was. I often died from a boulder which also came tumbling down the hill. It was terrible. But it was as soon as I felt good about it, as soon as I felt that, oh wow, this wasn't that hard, then a guy would just like completely wreck me by like breaking my stance and dicing me up twice or knocking me off the ledge. It's a very hard game. One of my favorite weapons in the game so far has to be the hand cannon. It's like I think in general all the range weapons are pretty cool, because you would rather like deal a little bit of damage to the guy from afar and then let him run up to you, and you can finish him with a few swipes of your sword. But the hand cannon, I had explosive rounds on it, so it was basically like a one-hit kill. So as soon as a guy came up to me, I shot him, and then it would be an area of effect damage, and that would deal damage to the guys around him. There's also a cool ability that I used late on in the demo where I had this guardian spirit animal thing that's with me. I had a wolf. As soon as the bar at the top left corner of the screen fills up, you can kind of like summon him to imbue your weapon, and then you take no damage for like a few seconds, and then you can just dice the enemies around you. So there was this huge like devilish samurai looking monster in front of me, and I decided to use it there, and it seemed like the best way to kill it. So I think it's going to come in handy later on in the main game, especially during boss fights. Hopefully you can fill it up and make sure that you have it ready for a boss fight, so you can just deal a little bit of extra damage before the boss comes after you. The game also looks very pretty. I know it's got a much darker and less inspiring look to it than Dark Souls, for example, but all the little things that fly into you when you are attacking the guards and you're killing the enemies, and all the little particle effects really add like this cool feeling to it. Like you want to kill enemies because you know that you're getting something exciting from it, even though it's probably just a health pack. It looks pretty, so you want to do more of it. It's sort of addictive in that way. There's also the skill system that lets you unlock certain attacks, but the thing is here is that you have to become master in a certain weapon. So the more you use a dual weapon, the more you'll learn these attacks. So you cannot just learn that attack for a weapon that you don't have. So the skill tree comes, I mean, like the grapple, everybody gets the grapple. So if an enemy has no more defense, then you can grab the enemy and kill him straight away. But if you want to attack him from behind, then you're going to have to use that weapon for a certain amount of time to up its proficiency. Once you've learned that attack, then you have that attack for that weapon, but then you don't have to have it for the next. So you have to be diverse, and you're going to have to play with all of them or decide the weapon that you want to stick with. The weapon and armor system is also pretty cool. I remember when the first alpha came out that I played, weapon durability was like non-existent, and you would attack an enemy or like kill like 4 or 5 enemies, and then your weapon would be 3/4 of the way broken. That's gone, so they fixed that, which is pretty cool. And now the weapons last longer, which is nice because you don't want to have to like run back and forth to the shrines to repair your weapons every 5 seconds. Talking about shrines, the game uses the same sort of like bonfire system that we see in Dark Souls, where you go to the shrine to pray, and then the shrine cleanses the area and brings all the enemies you kill back to life, but also refills your health and healing items. So there's that risk reward system where you either carry all your XP with you, and if you die, that XP is going to lay on the floor for you to go pick up again, or you go to the shrine, bring all the enemies back to life, and you can level up. Leveling up is also going to be a gamble, because you have to choose exactly what weapon class you're going to stick to, and then depending on that would be the level that you level up. Heart, for example, affects swords and bows, so if I'm not going to use an axe, then it will be pointless to invest a lot of XP and levels into that specific class. The only downfall I find right now with the game is that there's no real multiplayer. I'd love to just invite my friends and have my friends play with me in a game, but it relies on like a random visitor system where you can summon a player, and then that player who's searching for a game will join you. So hopefully in the main game there's something that lets me just put down a sign similar to Dark Souls, where I could just summon my friends by putting down the summon stone. But right now in this demo there was nothing that I could see that would let me do that. Although I don't think the game's going to have the same sort of magnitude as Dark Souls in terms of environments. I mean, in Dark Souls we saw ourselves climbing up mountains and gigantic castles, and we got that tingly sensation in our feet when we were standing on the edges of cliffs. I don't see that happening in Nioh, but what it's done is just taken this hardcore relentless genre and it's given it the samurai spin, and I love anything samurai. I always have. So I think it's going to be quite interesting to see the boss fights and the enemies and how they've taken inspiration from the Edo period, and the weapons and like this sort of like disease that's in the game where there's this darkness that consumes enemies and they transform into this creature. But it's going to be quite interesting to see how they develop that, and I'm quite excited to see how the game comes out in the end.